Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. So in this video today, I wanted to show you a journal entry that I created a while back that helps me keep myself sane when things are either heating up or prices are dropping in crypto. But I want I want something to go back to that I can look at to kind of check in with myself to understand where we are in the market cycle. Now guys, before I dive into these, if everybody knew when the top was or the bottom, we wouldn't have, um, everyone would be super wealthy. And the truth is, we don't know when the tops are in. We don't know when the bottoms are in. I definitely do not know. So I use this more as a reference than a, anything to actually take too seriously when it comes to gauging where we're at. So anyways, as I go through these, just keep that in mind. This is just something to consider if you're trying to get a pulse on the market. I'm not going to go necessarily into what each one means just for the sake of time, but I'm going to include this document in the description below that you can take a look at if you want the links. All right, without further ado, let's jump right in. So the first one is Bitcoin active addresses. Generally, there's a huge spike when we're at the all-time high. So let's go check this out. And I'll show you some of the previous cycles where you can see the Bitcoin active addresses being at all-time high. So you can see this one very clearly back in 2017. You see the huge spike here back in 2021. And then today, you can see that the active addresses isn't that high. All right, let's go to the second one. The second one, the CBBI score, generally at the top, you target around 90 to 95% here. So let's go check this out. And again, you can click on the link and get a rundown as to what CBBI is to see if it would make sense for you. As of January 17th, it's 80. So it's below that 90 to 95%. All right, let's continue. Bitcoin dominance at 40 to 45%. So generally speaking, in previous cycles, what happens is Bitcoin dominance, when the crypto market's hot, we're at the top of the bull, that means Bitcoin dominance is usually down. And so back in 2017, the dominance, Bitcoin dominance dropped 35%. And again, if you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is, it's how strong Bitcoin is in market cap relative to all the other tokens. So if Bitcoin dominance is 35%, that means everything else is stronger at that moment in time than Bitcoin. So in 2017, you had 35%. 2021, you had 40%, so a bit stronger. And you can see that as time goes on, as cycles, we'd expect maybe 40 to 45% this cycle before we top. All right, so let's go see, without further ado, what current Bitcoin dominance is as of January 17th. Let's see here. Okay, it's about 50, almost 58%. So not in the area to be concerned. All right, timing cycle. This is just more of a note. The market bottomed in November 2022. So that would put roughly, and I'll explain more where I got this from, but December 2025 as potentially the top of the bull. Again, we don't actually know. No one actually knows, but something to keep an eye on. All right, the pi cycle top. So when the red crosses the green. So let's go check this out. So historically, you can see at any time you see the top of the bull, you see, and it's kind of hard to see on my screen, but you see a crossing of the red over the green. So let's go over here. Oops, let's see here. Or it gets very close, right? And then let's move this out. Yep, you can see, got right here, got very close. But let's go look at where we're at today. As you can see, again, might be hard to see on your screen, but the red and the green don't look like they're anywhere close to crossing at this time, which would indicate that we are not at the top of the market. All right, just a few more. The MVRV Z-score above 6 to 7, which is the max. So let's go check out what this is currently. And again, if it's at the top, that would be 6 to 7, but the score currently is, let's see if we scroll over here, it's about 2.55, and that's the green line here. But you can see historically the z-score has been fairly high when it goes up. Obviously, we don't for sure know what it would end up, and we're going to use this and compare all the other metrics as well to kind of give us a holistic view. All right, my favorite one, because it looks so nice, is the rainbow chart. When it's in the orange plus area, so I'll show you what I mean. By the way, guys, if you have any other metrics that you personally look at, comment down below so I can update my sheet. I'm sure there's a lot more that are very valuable. So this shows you when the halvings have been. And then, as you can see, historically, anytime we're at the top, it's in the orange or the red, as you can see back here. As you can see here, we're still pretty low. We're in the green. And the orange is quite far. All right. And that's it in terms of metrics. Now, there are a few other indicators that are more qualitative. I'll give an example. You have friends or influencers that are talking a certain way, whether they're saying, hey, this thing is never going to come down, or you have friends texting you saying, what do you think about insert crypto or Bitcoin or ETH, right? Just keep an eye out. Usually that should be a trigger for you to go back to this document and kind of look to see, all right, am I crazy, or have we been in the bull market and I just haven't been paying attention and now we're going to go down, or are things heating up, right? So you can kind of make better decisions, but this should at least be the trigger, as if influencers or the narrative is aiming, or I guess if there's an agenda with the media, or if your friends are asking about certain cryptos. Let's pump on positive news. If one day the U.S. government decides to have that the U.S. dollar would be backed by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin doesn't shoot up in value, well, that's usually an indicator that we're at the top of the market because institutions are selling into retail. And then finally, and then we'll wrap up this video, but finally I wanted to quickly show you this video.
Here's the one chart that you need for this bull market.
What's cool about this video is that this guy goes back and looks at what happened in historical cycles. I've summed it up for you already. Highly recommend watching it though. But basically what he says, and again, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again, but something to keep an eye on. So 500 days after the halving, that's usually the top of the bull market. So that's the end of 2025. Again, we don't really know if that's it could be 2026 or later, but something to keep an eye on. 500 days before the halving is usually the bottom prices where everything's depressed. Now, I'm not necessarily looking at this cycle, but let's just assume, hey, the top of the market was September 2025. That would put us November of 2026, or towards the end of 2026, when you could expect prices to be down. And then finally, 160 days after the halving, that's usually the end of the reaccumulation phase. So what does that mean? Historically, leading up to a halving, Bitcoin price goes up. When the halving occurs, generally you have this phase where price drops for a period of time. What this guy is saying is that phase is usually a 160-day window. So if you want to reaccumulate, you have between the end of the halving to 160 days to reaccumulate. So you could dollar cost average back in if you wanted to accumulate more. But then once 160 days, right, so in this case, the end of September, or September of 2028, right, assuming the halving happens earlier in the year, you would have that end point in time, and from there, it's usually a bull market. And then if we're then to saying, okay, well then 500 days after that, that would put us in 2029 category for the end of the next crypto top. All right, guys, that pretty much sums up. If you let me know, comment down below if this is something that you could follow, or if you'd be interested in following, or if you have some other metrics that you really like, or maybe you say, hey, this is not a very good indicator, maybe tweak this, maybe my numbers are too high. Let me know down in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.